Hi guys, I'm Rose and today we're doing stretch and release. For this class, you will need a foam roller and a ball, a massage ball, tennis ball, anything will do. You also have the option to use a yoga block. If you don't have these pieces of equipment, you can check out my video, Stretch and Release Equipment, for some options with household items. Today we will be focusing on the lower body, so we'll be rolling out a lot of leg muscles and also working on ankle and hip mobility. We are going to start seated on the mat. If you'd like, you can place that block or a pillow under your sit bones and we'll get started. Today we'll get started in a seated position, just doing a little bit of grounding work. So you can bring a block or a pillow or a cushion under your sit bones to allow the hips to open a little more, or you can be seated flat on the floor. Legs can be crossed or you can have them out in front of you, whatever is a comfortable position. Once you're there, shift your weight so it's even on both sit bones and you're lifted up nice and tall through the crown of your head. If you like, you can close your eyes or just gently soften the gaze into the distance and become aware of the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. With your in-breath, feel the spine lengthen from the tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. And with your out-breath, see if you can let go of any tension you may be holding in the body. As we move throughout the practice today, I ask you to listen to your own body because you know it best. If anything doesn't feel right, please don't do it. While working with the foam roller and doing self-massage, you may find some discomfort in the body, and that's okay. Just make sure it doesn't progress to a level of pain, and if it starts to go in that direction, please back off. For your safety, we won't roll over the knee joints, the elbow joints. If you have pacemakers or implants, please don't roll over those. And if you have varicose veins, please be wary of that as well. Allow the breath to guide you into the body and just notice how you're feeling today. Are there any places that do feel tight or tense? Do you feel your weight trying to shift to one side or the other? Without changing those things, just feel into them. We're going to start with some slow, gentle movement to warm up the neck and spine. So as you exhale, drop that chin toward chest. Inhale, ear to shoulder. Lift the eyes. And then exhale the chin back to the chest. And you're making a big circle with the neck. And if that circle doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can just keep the chin against the chest, rolling ear toward shoulder and back again. Or you can do a nod forward and back with the head. Whatever you're doing, see that the shoulders are soft and relaxed. And just notice any sensations you're feeling. As you complete your next circle, take a pause and start to move in the opposite direction, bringing balance into the body. And mapping that movement to the pace of your own breath. And as you complete the next circle, come back up to a neutral position. Drop your right ear toward your right shoulder. Take the left fingertips down toward the earth. So reaching long through that left arm, letting the head relax toward the shoulder. If you'd like a little bit more, you can take the right arm and just rest it gently, or the right hand and rest it gently on your head. You're not pulling the head down. The weight of the arm is just lengthening the neck a little bit more. And on your next breath, release, come back up to center. Now notice how that side of the neck feels. Drop your left ear toward your left shoulder, right fingertips down toward the earth. And if you like, you can add a little weight. And then return back the head back to the center. We're going to roll out the shoulders. So pick up the shoulders, roll them back, opening the chest, and then continue moving in a circle. Inhale to lift, exhale to slide the shoulder blades down. Open up the chest. And getting a little bit of mobility into the upper back and the shoulders. And as you complete the next roll, take a pause and start to roll the opposite direction. So bringing the shoulder blades forward, opening up the upper back. And as you complete the next roll, take a pause, sit up nice and tall, bring the palms together out in front, tuck your chin and reach the fingertips forward, opening up through the shoulder blades here. Try sending your breath into the back body. And on your next breath, release, clasp the hands behind your hips. Inhale, lift the chest, take the eyes to the ceiling, and notice that feeling of openness through the collarbones. And release, shake it off. Now today we are going to prioritize lower body, but we will do a little bit of upper body rolling as well, because I believe in looking at the whole body together as one. We're going to start with feet. So come on up to standing, and you will need your ball for this. If you're using a block, you can place that to the side. Come up to standing, ball comes onto the floor, foot comes onto the ball, and we roll. Now, throughout this practice, the more weight you put into the tool, the more intensity you're going to get. So if you want more intensity, press down strongly through the foot. If you want a little less sensation, put more weight into that opposite foot. You can roll the entire bottom of the foot, so heel, arch, under the toes. And if you find a real sore spot, just pause there. Breathe, soften, and see if you can relax and allow for a little release of that trigger point. Now, as I said before, you may notice some discomfort. We don't want it to go into a level of pain. We also don't want to feel any kind of numbness or tingling. If you feel that, you've probably hit a nerve, so back off. Move to a different spot and see if you can release that nerve. Our feet are pretty much in shoes all day, unless you're a hippie like me and you're always barefoot. But shoes can kind of constrict the muscles, tendons, bones of the feet, and this is a good way to bring a little bit of relief into those parts. And when you're ready, you can shift to the other foot. Notice if there's any real sore spots. And the breath will become really important, especially as we move into bigger muscle groups where there's a little more probability that you'll feel a deeper sensation. So make sure the breath is just smooth and even. We never want to hold the breath and tense up the body. You feel that sore spot, just pause there. Notice if maybe one foot feels different from the other. And limbering up the feet will help to open up movement in the knees and hips as well, since everything's connected, and we start with the feet first. All right, we're going to stretch out the ankles just a bit, so bring that ball to the inside of the foot, keeping the heel in contact with the earth. Lift the toes. See if you can clear the ball and set the foot back down. So lifting up and setting down. The closer the ball is to your arch, the more difficult it's going to be, as well as the larger the object is going to be more difficult. You can move it out to the toes to make it a little less challenging. And if you're having a problem clearing the ball, you don't have to use the ball at all. You can just do the same thing, lifting and lowering, like you're making a little rainbow with the toes balancing on the foot. And then we're going to move it to the other foot. So bring that ball on the inside, lift, and notice how this side feels. Part of what I invite you to do in these classes is really check in with your own body. You know the experience of your body more than anybody else would. But sometimes we're just on autopilot and we're not really connecting. So take this time to learn about yourself, connect with your own body. One more. All right, we're going to come back down to the floor now. And here we're going to roll the calves. So you can use the roller or you can use the ball. The ball is going to be a little bit more challenging probably because the denser and smaller the object, the more you're going to feel it in the muscle. So if you want to use the roller comes underneath the calf and the calf can roll side to side. You can roll forward and back. Remember, stopping just below the knee. We don't roll the back of the knee joint. Keep that in the muscle. Now look for the most tender spot, and you can just pause there. Keep the breath moving, relax through the neck and shoulders. And if you want to use the ball, same concept. Put the ball under the calf, and you'll notice right away usually that that's a little more sensation. And again, you can just find wherever you have a sore spot and pause. 30 to 60 seconds will usually allow the body to release that muscle where it's tight. You may also want to roll the outer part of the calf here. And that's a little bit easier, I feel, with the ball, but you can also do it with the roller. So as we roll the legs, we'll steer with the feet, turning the toes out will get you into that side calf. I've been doing a lot of walking as we've been self-quarantining, so my calves are pretty tight. And in general, our calves are usually tight from our lifestyles, a lot of sitting, a lot of shoes with a heel raise higher than the toe is going to tighten up the calf muscles. All right, when you're ready, we're going to switch to the other side. Now, one side may be more sore than the other, and so it's fine to prioritize and spend a little more time on that side, but we want to make sure to roll everything, both sides of the body, everything's connected. And just, note if you're really a lot more sore on one side. If one calf's more sore than the other, that could indicate like a weight shift or your body's asymmetrically loading one side to the other. So you might want to notice as you're standing and walking if you feel like maybe your weight is shifted, and see if you can try to even that out a little. And the spot that's most sore on one side might not be the sore spot on the other side. And try to get into that outer calf a little bit too, and ball is always the option. And the ball, for me, is a little bit more accurate at finding those really sore spots. Don't forget to breathe. Normally, I don't have to remind people as much. Calves normally aren't as bad as quads, but you never know. Mine are pretty sore right now, so. I also haven't been rolling as often as I should. I normally at least once a week when I'm teaching, but I have not been. So I've been neglecting myself. So if you've been neglecting yourself, don't feel bad. It happens to us all. All right, now we're going to stretch out the calves. I'm going to use a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, if you just have something that's about the same height that's stable enough to rest your foot on, maybe a couple of hardcover books or a thick cardboard box, or even a step. If you've got stairs in your house, you can do this off a step. So if you need to pause go run and find a step. What you're going to do is place the front part of the foot on the block and then press the heel down toward the floor. And see if you can feel that lengthening of the calf. Now, if you don't have anything at all to place the foot on, you can still find a calf stretch by bending the front knee and straightening the back leg. I don't know if you can see. So just pressing down through that heel and leaning the body forward, and the further you lean the body, keep pushing that heel down, bending the front knee, straighten the back leg, and you'll be able to get a calf stretch there as well if you don't have anything to put the foot on. And switch sides when you're ready. And same thing, the further forward you lean and the more you press down through the heel, you're going to feel usually some more stretch up the back. I can feel it all the way from the heel up into my glute, honestly. All right, and release. Shake it off. Now we're not going to roll the entire hamstring today. We are going to roll a little bit of the hamstring, which is the biceps femoris, for all of you guys that are anatomy nerds like me, the short head, which is going to be the outer part of the back of the thigh. So right here is where we're looking to roll, and we're going to do that by coming down onto the side and grabbing that roller. So roller goes down, and then thigh goes on, and then you can roll the thigh forward just a bit, and so we're in that outer part of the thigh. And just a little roll here. Now if you want, you can bring the hand up front. If you want more intensity, you can cross that other leg over. And here again, if that just feels really tight and tense, release into it. You don't have to be rolling. I know it's called a foam roller, so we think we have to always be moving. You don't. It's a tool to allow your body some release. And the way we do that is to find that sore spot, put some weight into it, breathe, settle, and let the body do its thing. Now this can be done with the ball as well. Again, it's just going to be a little bit more ouchy maybe. So right under the back of the outer thigh. And with the roller, you just come forward onto the hand. And if you do want a little roll back and forth, just side to side motion. It's going to be good. And sometimes you might think, I'm not going to be sore there. And then you put that roller there and you're like, oh, maybe I am sore there. All right, we're going to do the other side. So roll up and over. Place the roller. Make sure you're not rolling over the back of the knee joint. It's going to be the back of the outer thigh. And when you find that soft spot or that sore spot, just soften, relax. And you can bring that other leg over to put more weight into the roller. You can also lift the hip if you want. That's way too intense for me today, so I'm not going to do that. And again, one side may be a little bit more tender than the other. Make sure you're breathing. And then release. All right, we are going to roll out the quads. And this is where it starts to get pretty intense. So we have to really remember the breath. We have to remember that we're trying to relax the body so that tensing up and holding the breath is counterproductive to what we are doing today. So come over onto your belly. And the roller goes right under the thigh. Now here, you got lots of options. So you can stay lifted, toe on the ground, and you're rolling into that calf. If you want to put more weight into the roller, come down onto the elbows, forearms, And you're going to find that weight adds a little bit more to your massage. You can lift the heel a little bit if you like. If that's really painful, then I wouldn't do it. And you don't have to. You're getting a good roll here, and actually having that quad muscle kind of relaxed can be more beneficial to getting into those trigger points. And again, turning the toes in toward the center of your body is going to get outer thigh, and turning the toes out, a little more inner thigh. Now you can also roll all the way up into the hip flexors here in that crease of the thigh. Most of us have tight hip flexors, again, from our lifestyle, sitting quite a bit. So that's where you might feel, oh, there's a trigger point, which is a knot in the muscle, some soreness. See if you can just relax, breathe. And then notice if you're tensing. So I feel like, oh, I'm relaxed, but then it's like, let me drop that knee. Am I holding tension here? Let me release that. So it might take a couple sweeps through the body with your attention to see if you're really letting go or if you're still holding on. The quad can usually be pretty painful, so we won't stay here too long. The more often you do this, the less crazy it feels. So if you've only done this a few times or it's your first time and you feel like this is insanity, it does get better, I promise. All right, we're gonna go to the other leg. Same thing, put it under the thigh. You can stay up or you can come down. Turn the foot to steer where you want your leg on the roller. If you feel a really sore spot, just let it be. Sometimes when we're constantly rolling over the knot, it actually activates our pain receptors, and that's the opposite of what we're trying to do. So if you feel like you're not being productive because you're not rolling, that's not actually true. When you feel a real sore spot, the best thing to do is settle into it for 30 to 60 seconds if you can. And magically, sometimes, you'll feel it kind of let go or ease up a little bit. And again, you can roll up into the hip flexors, into that crease where we're mostly tight. And don't let the tension creep up into other parts of the body either. Keep the shoulders down and back, chest open. And if you have to take a break at any time because it feels too much in the body, then please feel free. Take a child's pose or just lay down on the floor for a minute, gather your breath, gather your thoughts, and then come back to it. All right, and when you're ready, we're going to move to inner thigh. So come on up, rolling down onto your side, and the roller is going to be placed parallel to your body and your mat. Leg comes over the top, and then you're rolling in and out. And if you lift the heel a little bit, that'll get more of that top inner thigh. And if you feel tight here, just pause, breathe. How are you feeling? Check in, mentally as well as physically. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. That's why we breathe. Be present, even though it can be uncomfortable. It can teach you a lot about your body. Whew. My inner thighs are pretty sore today. You may notice that if you've been doing different activities, I've been doing, like I said, a lot of walking, a lot of hills. So different parts will be more sore than if I was doing just my normal routine. All right, and when you're ready, we're gonna switch to the other side. And if you need to take more time on that side, feel free. Parallel to the body, leg comes over. Support yourself on your forearms. And there you are. Is this one a little more sore? It is for me, for sure. So I'm going to relax that leg. Breathe. And just let the weight of my body do its thing with that roller. So we're not using the tool to mash out the muscle. We're using the pressure between the bone and the tool to see if we can let the muscle soften. Oh, that inner thigh is a tough one today. All right, and when you're ready, come on up. We're going to get into the glutes just a little bit. So roller comes right beside the body, and you're looking to place this meaty part of the body on the roller. So come on down, glute that comes on the roller. Now the glute that's on the roller, you can bring that leg out in front. And you're probably going to feel that right away if you've got a lot of knots in the glutes. You can roll up a little higher. You can kind of go side to side, see where you're holding tension, and you can always keep moving. If that feels good to you and you like that massage and that movement, there's no right or wrong way. Just listen to your body. If you feel anything crazy, take a break. If you do feel a real sore spot and you want to pause on it. Now, if you do want more weight, that back leg can come over and you're going to be here. I need the wall for support on this one. I don't know about you. That's a little bit too much intensity for me, so I'm just going to leave it where I'm at. And all this feedback I'm getting from my body today is telling me I need to be doing this a lot more often, right? Sometimes we think of foam rolling as just like if we have an injury or we have a tight spot, we'll bust out the roller, we'll just roll that part of the body and then we'll throw it back in the closet. But if you use this as a maintenance a few times a week, you'll be amazed at how good your recovery is from different workouts and even just from day-to-day activities. All right, we're going to do that on the other side. So bring it up and over. That cheek goes on the roller. Leg comes out in front. Ooh, tight up in the top of my glute. If you want more, remember you can bring that other leg over to add more weight. Now, sometimes I may be saying, oh my goodness, that's crazy, and you're not feeling the same thing. That's okay too. We all hold tension differently. Our muscles process our movements differently. You are unique, so just notice the sensation that's in your body. It doesn't have to match anybody else's. Pause when you feel it. Oh, goodness. You might find a couple sore spots in each muscle group. Normally one will really stand out as the sorest spot, and that's where you know you kind of need to hold and breathe and see if you can allow for that release. All right, so we've rolled pretty much everything that we're gonna roll from the waist down. Now we're gonna get into some stretching and mobility work. So we're gonna start with a hip flexor release. Coming down to the floor, you're gonna need your rollers still. So roll onto your back, and this, if you don't have a roller but you have a yoga block, you can do the same thing here with placing the tool underneath your hips. Let me do this the right way. Okay, the easier way to do this, instead of rolling over the top of it, is come down, Heels near your butt, knees in line with the hips, lift up into a bridge and slide the roller or the yoga block underneath the hips. So where you want to be is underneath your sacrum, which is the back of the pelvis. Now it can feel uncomfortable here, so move it around until it's in a location where you feel like you can let your weight go and you're not tensing up on it. Then we're going to pull one knee into the chest as we stretch the other leg down and toward the floor. What we're looking for here is to keep that foot in contact with the floor and see if you can feel some stretch and release through the hip flexor of the straightened leg. Now let go of the shoulders, make sure you're not hunched up. Completely drop the upper body, pull that knee in, press the other foot down, and notice what you're feeling here. Now see if you're tensing up this leg, just let it go. We want to reach out for a stretch, but not be holding all the muscles tight. This puts our hip into a position it doesn't get a lot, which is hip extension. And that allows those hip flexors to completely relax because they're not doing anything here. They're not flexing like this side is. Notice how this side feels with the flex compared to this side that's extended right now. All right, you can pull that knee in and switch to the other side. So take the leg long, see if you can keep the heel in contact with the floor. Maybe point your toes gently, pull the other knee in. Oh, I have got a little crack in my back. So if you do feel cracking and popping in the bones and joints, as long as there's no pain associated with it, that's totally fine. All right, even the shoulders. I feel myself leaning to the side a little bit. Pull that knee in, stretch the leg long, soften through the body, and breathe. Now, if you can't get that foot down to the floor, that probably means your hip flexors are super tight. So just take it as close to the floor as you can and try to feel that lengthening there. All right, bring both knees in. You might want to hold on to the roller or block, and if you like, you can do a little side to side motion. Sometimes people like to bend and straighten and get a little work into those hip flexors. Open and close. And here I can feel my hip clunking. I don't know why it does that, but it's not painful, so it's fine, right? All right, heels to the floor, lift up, pull that tool out, take your feet out toward the edges of your mat. I'm a little close to the wall here, but we're gonna windshield wiper just to release any tension. So both knees drop to one side, lift to the center, drop to the other side or the wall. And you can take your head in the opposite direction. As you roll knees to one side, head goes to the other side. All right, coming back up. We're going to do a little bit of stretching for the hips. So come up onto the mat. My mat keeps getting closer and closer to the wall, I feel like. Maybe that's the problem. Come onto hands and knees. So the knees right under the hips, the hands are right under the shoulders. Now you're going to step one leg forward, doesn't matter which leg you want to step. And then you're going to walk your hands forward. What we're looking for is to keep that front knee aligned over the front ankle. And so the back knee is going to be behind the back hip. Hands come down to the mat here. Now, if this is way too intense, you can do this stretch lifted here, supporting the head, or the hand on the thigh. And that's still going to give you a good stretch. You can also use your roller to keep yourself upright. So that's going to be kind of where to begin if you feel a lot in the hips and you don't want to go any further. If you do want to go a little further, hands come down to the floor. You can also use blocks if you can't quite make it to the floor, but you want to bring a little bit of your weight shift forward. Now you can also come down to the forearms here if you're really feeling it today. Forearms come down to the floor. Some days I can get there, today I cannot. So I'm going to listen to my body. You can also use blocks to elevate the floor and bring the forearms there. Wherever you are, once you get there, roll the shoulders back, eye gaze forward and slightly down to keep the neck in line, and breathe. Now we're trying to loosen and stretch the body here. So if you feel yourself tightening, back it up, okay? If you're on the forearms, come back to the hands. If you're on the hands, come back up to the chest so you're lifted. Now you can stay here if you feel good here. I am going to give another option. So that option would be to walk this foot out wider a little bit and turn the toes. And then coming down on the back arm and dropping the back hip toward the floor. So if that's not you and you're like, you're crazy, then don't feel like you have to do this. Oh, breathe. And when you're ready, bring that knee back under the hip, take the knees wide, shift back into a child's pose. So you can bring a block under the forehead, stack the hands, or bring the head all the way down to the floor. All right, on your next breath, come on up, and we're going to do the other side, and I'm going to stay in this position so you can kind of see from the other side how it looks. So if anything I said on the first side was unclear, hopefully it'll become clear on this side. So foot comes forward, shift the weight, so knee is over ankle on that front leg. I don't know if you can see my front leg, knee over ankle. So you can stay here, lifted, you can use something for support like your roller, and you're still getting a nice deep stretch through the hips here. You can come down inside that foot, roll the shoulders back, take the eye gaze forward, breathe. If you like, you can come down to the forearms, and once something starts to make you tense up and hold your breath, you need to come back a little, okay? There's no sense in getting your ego involved and feeling like you need to put your body in a position that's doing more harm than good. Now, if you'd like, you can take that foot out a little wider, turn the toes to the back, come down, and drop that hip. Now, if this feels weird in your knee, please don't do it. Breathe. And then come on back up, shift it back, knees wide, drop into a child's pose, breathe. Now from child's pose, we're going to go into frog pose. So you can watch what I'm doing and try it. If it doesn't work for you, then this wide leg child's pose where we are is going to be perfect. So toes are together, knees wide to start, and come onto your forearms. If you're happy here and this feels good in your hips, stay here. If you want to go for frog pose, you're going to bring your feet out so that knees are in line with the ankles, toes are pointing in either direction toward the side walls, then pull the toes slightly toward your head. Pull the belly in to support the spine. And what we're looking for here is a nice long spine and some release in the hips. So if you like, you can try sliding those hips out a little further. If that's not you, or any time it gets to be too much in those hip flexors, then bring the toes back together and come into your wide child's pose. Now if you like, you can try a little shift forward or back, and you'll usually find that sweet spot where the stretch is like, whew, and you can breathe there. We don't want it to take the breath away. We don't want to tense up, but it may be a little bit at the edge of the comfort zone. And you can keep that movement or you can find stillness. If the knees are sensitive, you can do this on your mat. I'm just doing it on the side to kind of show you guys. And you can also fold the mat over if you want more cushion under the knees. So that would look the same here. Jeez, my mat. We would start with the knees wide, toes together on the forearms, and then bring the knees out, feet out, pull the belly in, long straight spine, and you're here. And with your breath, as you inhale, you can try squeezing the thigh muscles and maybe even squeezing the belly muscles. And then as you exhale and release, that may give you a little more opening through the hips. So as you inhale, squeeze the muscles, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And as you exhale, let them go. And whenever you're done with this, the way to get out of it is toes together first. Then lift the chest, then bring the knees in. How did that feel? You'll have to let me know. Some people love it, some people hate it. That's definitely one of those that will divide a room. All right. So, some more hip work. Come into a 90-90 position. And what this looks like is just having one leg bent out front, one leg bent behind you. Now we're going to try something here. So you may want to have your roller nearby to help you. So what we're going to do is push and lift up from the hips up onto the knees. And then, this is the key, slowly lower back down. So you're not just dropping your butt down to the earth. Now, if this is the first time you've tried this and you're like, what the heck, how do I create that motion? You can use the roller and push down as you lift, and that can sometimes help with that momentum. If you're having trouble getting the hips off the ground, that's okay. Just stay in this stretch and maybe see if you can lean forward, feel that momentum of lift, and then sit back down. Feel it, and then let it go. If you're lifting the hips, lift, and then slowly lower. So this is, I'll show you what we're not doing. That, right? We lift, squeeze the glutes as you lift, and then we slowly lower. And after a few of these, my hips will really be feeling it. So if you've done like 2 or 3 and you're like, what the heck? It's not just you. All right, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. 90-90 position, and it's usually, I think this side's my side that's harder. Sometimes it's harder on one side than the other. Our bodies are, asymmetrical, and then the ways that we use them can add to that asymmetry. So if you're using that roller, you can use that, place it wherever it feels comfortable to you so that you can push down. You can also push off the floor, lift, and then slowly lower. Or see if you can lift, yep, this is the hard side, and slowly lower. And what we're building here is strength and mobility through the hips, so the ability to move. One of the most important things that you can do for your strength and mobility is just getting up and down off the ground. It's something we don't do once we, hit adulthood for the most part, but a full body exercise. Try getting up and down off the ground from a seated position without using your hands. Do it a few times and you'll definitely feel something. And set it back down. Awesome work. Bring the feet out wide. Shift the hips back just a bit. You can bend your knees here if you'd like, and just walk the hands forward a little bit. So you may want to lift the hips, shift them back, and that's going to tilt your pelvis forward, bring the chest forward, keep the spine nice and long. If you've got a lot of mobility in the hips and you can come down to the forearms, that's fine, but we don't have to be there. You can just be here, just getting a little opening. Try rolling the hips back just a bit. Soften through the upper body, breathe. All right, come on back. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add on just a little bit. You might need a little more room. All right. So what we're gonna do is set up that 90-90. Come up and drop down. Then start to lift the back knee and open it. Then pull the front knee down so that you end up 90-90 on the other side. Then lift on that side and lower. So we got it. And you can use the hands here to lean back, roll, and lift. Or you can try with no hands and see if you can move the back leg first as far as it will go before you start lifting the other leg off the floor. And then come on. Oh, and you'll probably notice one side's harder than the other. I'm moving off my mat too, so when I do this in my living room with the dogs, they're like, what the heck are you doing? I'll end up clear on the other side of the room. How did that feel? So that's a fun one that you guys can try to just whenever you're bored watching TV and you're like, maybe I should be moving, maybe I should be active. Just do that across your living room, right? All right, shift the hips back just a little bit. Soften. Breathe. All right, we're gonna roll out the upper back just a little bit and then wind things down so we get toward our meditation and relaxation. First, a little quad stretch. So come on to the side, elbow to the floor, stack your knees so your knees in line with the hips, in line with the shoulders. Pick up that top leg, keep the knees close, push the hips forward. Little stretch for the quads here. And when you're ready, roll onto your back. That leg that was on top comes across. Now here, you can just press this knee gently open. Bring a little flex to that foot and see where you feel that. If you'd like, you can reach through and grab either the back of the thigh. Some people can grab the front of the calf. I cannot. When you're here, you can also use that elbow to gently press the knee open. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, so we don't want to be curled up to here. If you can't relax the shoulders down with this lifted, drop the foot. And when you're ready, we're going to do the other side. So you can just roll to your other side. You're going to see my backside, sorry. Bring that elbow under the shoulder, knees in line with the body. Pick up the top foot, knees together, push the hips forward. Breathe. And then come on down, that foot comes on top, flex the foot, press the knee gently. Find a little opening here. And then if you'd like, you can reach through. Grab that leg, gently press the knee. And see if you can notice any feeling down in the hips and glutes. All right, we're gonna roll out the mid-back just a little bit because I find that people like this, and it also helps to kind of open up the upper body since we've been working a lot with the lower body. Roller's gonna come under the back just above the waist. Bring the feet to the floor, and again, you got lots of options. What I like to do is lift the hips and roll all the way from shoulders to just above the waist. Now, if your hands are on the floor, you're gonna get a little more support. You can bring the hands to the head. That's going to give a little more weight to the roller, or you can take the arms back behind, get some opening through that upper back, and again, you might feel popping and clicking. That's okay as long as there's no pain. My shoulders are pretty sore right now, so this is feeling mighty nice. And you can just pause again if you feel something that feels like it needs release. You can also move the arms into snow angels or forward and back. Sometimes people will do maybe a little crunch type of motion here to mobilize the upper spine. Now, if you are laid back over it, these bottom ribs are going to lift off. See if you can push the bottom ribs down just a little bit so that the low back goes toward the floor. And then you know that all this extension is coming from your upper back and not the low back. So take your time, roll it out. When you're ready, if you like, you can place the roller under the back of the neck and just gently roll side to side. If you don't feel like this is great on your neck because it is in a kind of forward position, then you don't have to do it. You can also try rolling with the ball. It's a little bit tougher. But I like to just massage those muscles in the back of the neck. And you can even take it a little higher so it sits just under that bony protrusion in the back of the head, the occipital bone, and roll those muscles. So a lot of these muscles that connect up in the back of the head come from pretty low down in the back. So if the back and the neck are tense, it can help to release some of that tension. And then when you're ready, you can place that to the side and do a few more little windshield wipers. Take the feet out to the edges of the mat. Exhale, drop the knees to the right, head to the left. Inhale back to center. And exhale other side. And we're moving toward the end of practice here. So let everything go. Feel into your body. Feel the feet roll across the mat, the back of the head, roll across the mat. Notice if you're tensing or tight anywhere, and see if you can let that go. Notice how the hips are feeling now, if that's different from how they felt an hour ago. And when you're ready, you can slow yourself back into the center and prepare for meditation, relaxation, integration. So what I'd like you to do is find a spot for your body that feels really comfortable. You may want to put your roller under your knees. Sometimes that helps to support the knees just a bit. If you have low back tension or pressure, you can take the feet wide, drop the knees in, and allow them to support each other here. If you'd like, you can just extend the legs down the mat, allow them to roll out to the sides. Arms are out, palms up, chin is tucked just a bit to lengthen the spine. If you'd rather be seated, then that's perfectly fine. You can come to a comfortable seat with or without a cushion or a block under you. And if you'd rather roll onto your side, or if you're pregnant, that's a perfect option. So if you prefer the side, or you don't want to be flat on your back for any reason, then you can roll over and curl up. Once you get into that position, see if you can still the body. So if you need to, you can just kind of wiggle it out, shake it out, let it go, and then come into stillness. Eye gaze can softly face into the distance wherever you are, or gently close the eyes and gaze into the backs of the eyelids. Notice how your body's feeling in this moment. Gently sweep your awareness from head to toe. If you feel any pockets of stress or tension, see if you can let your next breath Send warmth into those places and allow for a release. Sometimes we can't let go completely, and that's okay too. Mindfulness is a gentle attention to what is, without trying to change or force anything. Allow the breath to come and go at its own natural ebb and flow. Breathing through the nose to warm and filter the air. Feeling the breath inflate the lungs and belly. Now you may notice your attention being pulled away by thoughts or feelings, and that's totally normal. So don't judge yourself or feel like you should be doing anything differently. Use the breath and body as an anchor to keep us in the present moment. So as you notice a thought, you can simply acknowledge it. Maybe even say to yourself, thinking, and let it go. Come back to the breath. This is your time to let everything you've done so far today settle into your body, into your spirit, into your heart. You've taken time to care for yourself. Notice the breath in and out. Allow the breath to keep you here in this moment as we spend a little time in silence. As you bring your awareness back to your body and the breath, notice if the mind has wandered. Remember that that's okay. It always will. The practice is allowing the thought to go without following it down the rabbit hole. Each time you acknowledge a thought, let it go and return to the breath. You're reinforcing the reality that our thoughts are not us. They're simply tools to help us navigate the world. The more space we can create between our true selves and our thoughts, the less reactive we are, the more resilience we build. Allow the breath to deepen a bit. And check in with yourself, body and mind. Use this time of stillness and silence to ask yourself how you're really feeling, without an expectation or judgment of what should be. How are you? Now start to invite in some gratitude for anything in your life that makes you feel grateful. It can be something big or small. It can be a person or a pet or a thing, an experience. And notice how the sensation of gratitude presents in your body. Maybe a feeling of warmth, a soft smile on the face. Now, can you invite that gratitude for yourself, for your whole perfect being, worthy and beautiful simply as you are? Start to wiggle the fingers and toes, bringing a little life back into the body. Maybe rolling the head from side to side, or stretching your body long. Asking yourself what you need to bring you back into this beautiful day. Opening your eyes slowly in your own time. Maybe transitioning onto your side. Leaving any heavy feelings on the mat and inviting a sense of lightness and love to take with you into your day. When you're ready and your strength returns, you can come back to a comfortable seat. Even on the sit bones, tall through the crown of your head, soft and relaxed through the neck and shoulders. We're going to take 3 deep cleansing breaths together. So we're going to do a big inhale through the nose and a big loud exhale through the mouth. As long as we're socially distanced, we're allowed to do that, right? All right, big breath in through the nose and let it go. Again. One more time. One more big deep breath. Circle the arms really wide. Gather all the love and positive energy around you and bring it to your heart. The love and light that shines from you is received and reflected back by the love and light that shines from me. Thank you for being here with me today. Any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out. Drop a comment here or message me on social media. I'm always available and open for anything you guys might need. So since we prioritized lower body today, the next video I do for stretch and release will do upper body. So shoulder mobility, back mobility, and that type of stuff. So let me know if you have any requests or comments. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.